grab your big book, your pen, your highlighter, and notepad and get ready to hear and apply some of the solution from the Big Book of Alcoholics Anonymous through the experience, strength, and hope of Nikki M. To have a question addressed in a future episode of Noodle It Out with Nikki, please send an email to noodlewithnikki@gmail.com, and Nikki is spelled with 2 Ks. To get a more interactive experience with Nikki as she noodles out life and recovery questions using the Big Book of Alcoholics Anonymous, you can get a link to her weekly Noodle It Out with Nikki meeting held live on Zoom every Monday morning at 9 o'clock Eastern Time. The information to that meeting is in the show notes of this podcast. God morning, God afternoon, and God evening to all. My name is Justin B., and I'm a son of an all-powerful and all-loving God and a qualifying addict of multiple fellowships, living in the miracle of recovery one day at a time. And I'm here with the intelligent agent, spearhead of God's ever-advancing creation, and my co-host, Nikki M. Nikki, please take a minute and introduce yourself.
Hi, everybody. I'm Nikki M, and we're having a little bit of technical things, so I hope I sound like a female and not like a male, because our vibe on this recording, I don't know. I just need a podcast, and Justin B showed up. So I'm a grateful member of many fellowships. We had our Monday morning Noodle meeting. We had a troll on there. We had a troll in the Noodle WhatsApp group, and we survived all of it. So I'm just so grateful that we've tapped power, that nothing can really rock the boat, and that we're here hopefully being guided by God's wisdom and words today to share a message of hope and strength to those out there listening. Love you, Justin. Grateful.
Yeah, thank you, Nikki. Yeah, so if this recording sounds a little bit lower than normal, we're trying to figure that out, and if not, it's just on my end, and we're okay. It'll all work out great. Thank you so much, Nikki. And so grateful to be able to sit down with you every week and sit and noodle some things out. And that's what this project is, the Noodle It Out with Nikki M. We bring questions, whether it's from our own lives, whether from the lives of our sponsees, from the Noodle chat, from the Noodle meeting. We bring questions back to Nikki and to the Big Book to noodle them out and see what the Big Book says. You know, we subscribe to the idea in the Big Book of Alcoholics Anonymous that, quote, rarely have we seen a person fail who has thoroughly followed our path. And so what we're trying to do is shine light on that path for questions from in all sorts of places and things. So you out there, grab your Big Book, your 4th edition of the Big Book, your highlighter, a pen, paper, whatever it is that you do to try and remember and take notes so that you can apply things that you learn into your lives. And one more thing before we get to this question. You know, we really appreciate all this support. This is Rico 12 is a self-supporting service, and we receive donations from all over the world and in all sizes, and we're just grateful for all of those. So if you are feeling that your higher power is nudging you and saying, hey, go support the Rico 12 projects, please consider doing so. You can do that. There's links in the chat, or you can go to rico12.com/support and go through there. So really grateful for all of that support. All right, let's jump into a question that I pulled out of the Noodle chat WhatsApp group this week. And Nikki, here we go. Here's that question. The person says, even though I work my program, I'm still relapsing. When the first thought comes, I do not know how to deal with it. So we've talked a lot about relapse in this, but I don't think that we've really addressed the thought of when the first thought comes, what do I do? So Nikki, what does the book say?
Well, it says a lot, and I'm just so grateful that you were able to pull out questions during our Porn Gate 2025, because there was a lot of weird stuff in the chat, and Justin still could find wonderful questions. And this is a wonderful question. When the first thought comes, how do I deal with it? Basically, without acting on it is what I'm hearing. Like, what do we do when this first thought comes? Now, I don't remember the factoid, but there's something like, I don't know, 10 billion thoughts a day in our head. I don't know. That's for those statistic people. I do know what our book says, and let's turn there. See, it says here on page 23, I'm on page 23, and it says, therefore, the main problem of the alcoholic, of the addict, of the person who is suffering, especially from relapse, okay? The problem centers in your mind rather than in your body. And then if you ask this person, why did you get started even thinking this way? The chances are they will offer you one of 100 alibis, excuses. Sometimes these are excuses, lies, the big book of excuses of lies, right? Like where does that first thought come from? Right? Like, I don't know. Where does it come from? Now you go down further down, because you said first thought comes, how do I deal with it? I think basically it's on page 18. We need to be armed with the facts about ourselves. See, this is, remember, this is where we're discovering the obstacles that are in our path to this power. We need this power. We're powerless. So further down on page 23, Justin, it says, there is the obsession. Okay, it's an obsession. Remember, the obsession of the mind. It centers in our mind. So there's this obsession in the mind, and we don't even know that it's happening. That somehow, someday, that's insanity. This person, Nikki, Justin, this person who wrote in, will beat the game. See, you will never be able to think like a normal person. Now, what does that mean, Justin? Like, what do? I need to be able to think. You need to think about, what does the book say? See, let's go deeper here. Page 24, the next page over, 24. I think I'll stay in this area to establish why these first thoughts come, because it says, at the very bottom says, when this sort of thinking is fully established in an individual with alcoholic tendencies. And if you're listening, everybody, this beautiful man I'm at the table with, Justin B's, never had a drink. You know, he doesn't know what that's like, but he has alcoholic tendencies, and he has placed himself beyond human aid. See, we're beyond human aid. So what do you think about what your therapist said to you? You're beyond human aid. That's not going to be very helpful for very long. What your Bible, what your Torah, what your Quran, what your yoga mat, your yogi, what your parents said, like, you're beyond human aid. Even my big book is going to fail me, Justin, at those certain blind spots and moments, right? So that's why I need to truly believe and do this work, so I have a new belief system. So my new thinking, my new thought life. My first thought is I'm a child of God. My first thought is I'm an intelligent agent spearhead. My first thought is God will do for me what I cannot do for myself. My first thought is I trust an infinite God. But what happens when things are coming at you and that's not your first thought? Okay, my first thought is, what's going to happen? Poor me. Why, God? Right? So the first thought, we're without defense against the first thought. See, here it is. It's like, it says right here, it's like on page 24, we're still here. The fact, this is a fact, you got to believe your big book, everyone, that most alcoholic addicts, the real deal, like what we're talking about here, the real obsessive thinker who can't control their first thought for reasons yet obscured, have lost the power of choice in thinking. Our so-called willpower becomes non-existent. We, Justin and Nikki and this person who wrote in, we are unable at certain times to bring into our consciousness. We are consciousness being painfully aware. I'm not painfully aware at certain times. The memory and suffering and incomprehensible demoralization of a week or a month ago. I'm without defense against the first thought. That's why I need to know this book and the instructions. So really, you took us there when you were talking, Justin. It's on page 58. It's like, you've got to get radically honest. First thought, I need, I want, I have to have. Second thought, is I can't do life. It's page 59. Without help, it's too much. May I find God now. Get yourself into the now. Like your first, this is radical. And we talked about it today on Noodle. Like, this is the most radical mindfulness course you will ever take. And to the people in the back, it's free. And we did ask for a seventh tradition. Know it. It's so we can, not so we can buy a new Bugatti or even new lipstick. Okay, Justin, this is literally so we can keep the room open so we can record this podcast. This is so when you go into your church basement, so you can buy a big book for your friends, so we can keep the podcast going, so you can keep the room. The Noodle meeting doesn't even ask for a seventh, Justin. I'm really bad about that. So your seventh, any seventh in Rico 12 keeps the podcast going, keeps our meetings going. It's really radical stuff. So I have to find God now. Now. This is the most radical. So the question was, my first thought comes, how do I deal with it? Bring yourself right here, right now. Now. I talked about it today on Noodle. I have a few sponsors, and I've talked about my sponsor. He's Asian, Bill W, and not Bill Wilson. And I say he's Asian because he has that background, a real like Confucius, a real sensei, if you've seen the Karate Kid, a Mr. Miyagi. And he does this hand movement, and he just swipes his hand and says nothing. And it means get into the present moment now. No one is dead. Do you want a bowl of noodles? Take a deep breath. Nothing is missing. It's that simple, you guys. Like, it's this simple. Because I thought for a long time, Justin, I need to run around and fix something. I need to go and make a call. I need to go and prepare a meal. I'm a mother, I need to go and, I need to go and make the arrangements, my little plans and designs. And our friend David G's taken us here. Page 68. What would God have you be? So when that first thought comes, second thought, what would God have me be? Because remember, we're demonstrating. This is a demonstration, says page 19, of these principles. Demonstrate what these principles, demonstrate what God would have you be. So let's go into that, Justin. Like, we always come on Monday mornings and we're like, yeah, we're good. But okay, so is something tickling at you, Justin, right now? Like, I know you've got a zillion things on your list. If I was in Spokane, Washington, if your wife's listening, I would ask to be his personal secretary. I'm really good. I'm type A. So what, right? So yeah, you're overwhelmed in this moment. Right now, you're probably going, we've got to record this. I've got to get off and do something. First thought, I need to do this. So what does that look like? What would God have you be, Justin?
Yeah, and that's so funny that you brought that up, because just as you were saying that, you got a lot going on. This is God. I get a text from work saying, "Hey, can you take care of this really quick?" Well, what would God have me be? Well, I'm here with Nikki. I am here recording this for people. I can put that off for a half hour. And it's not nobody's gonna die. Nobody's going to, lose their job if I don't react in a half hour. And I think that's really important with this same concept here is, for me, when that thought comes, it's almost always of a deviant sexual nature, or of a hey, if I can get away with that. I don't, I can be, lazy. I can be lazy. I can procrastinate. I can avoid this and just put it off for another. And now listen to this, Nikki. That voice, the self in my head right now is saying, well, see what you're just doing? You are avoiding and putting off this responsibility you have at work right now for this. That voice in my head, that thought can be so loud and so convincing, but it is a liar. It's a liar. And a place where when we were going through, I think it was on page 23 or 24, I had a note out to go look at page 43. So I'm going to read where it takes me to on 43 with this. It's the very bottom paragraph. Once more, the alcoholic at certain times has no effective mental defense against the first drink, the first thought. That first thought's going to happen. It is going to happen. Now, what do I do with that first thought? The first thought in and of itself isn't bad. It isn't, it just is. Now, what do I do with it? Here, uh, except in a few rare cases, neither he nor any other human being can provide such a defense against that first thought. His defense must come from a higher power. So, what do I do with it? Well, if we go to step 10, as soon as I spot selfishness, dishonesty, resentment, or fear, and that first thought comes from one of those every single time, I ask God at once to remove it. It has to come from a higher power. So there's my thoughts on this, Nikki. Any other feedback on that?
It was just great where you're taking us, and it does say, it says his, Justin, mine says my defense must come from a higher power. Again, back to no human aid. And back to page, we were on page 23, 24. I roll it back even to page 22. It says, perhaps there never will be a full answer. Justin, right before I came on here, this guy in India is blowing up my phone. Nikki, I'm out of my mind. Why there's children dying in the world? Why is this happening? Like all these questions. I said, why is your mind on that? You understand? Like those, like again, there never will be a full answer. Fully Down says, we cannot answer the riddle. I can't. The only answer he goes, well, you just can't answer this question. I said, well, the only answer I have is that God gave us free will. Free will. How are you going to use that free will, everybody? You're going to use it to think about, like Justin right now, he's got free will. He can sit here and be present with me, knowing that this is what we need to do right now. And in a half hour, that problem's going to be there and you can answer that problem. It's going to not go anywhere unless someone is dead. And even then, someone's dead. What can you do? Like we're powerless over everything. So it's like, back to page 43, like my defense must come from a higher power. So if this higher power is deep down inside of me, remember, page 55 says that's where you find the power, is deep down inside of you. So what do I need to do? I need to think honestly. Think honestly. What would God have me be right now? As Justin said, watch. Am I being is this thought selfish? Watch. Is this a fearful thought? Because I made a decision to trust an infinite God rather than my finite self. See, this is why we don't leave. Because page 164 says more will be disclosed. Oh, Nikki, I've been here 10 years. Nikki, I've been here 2 years. Go and talk to our friend David G. I've been here with David G 30 years, and
30
he
years,
just,
yeah.
right. And he just told us the last 2 years, he's really waking up. So, sir, Mr. Justin B, we got a lot of exciting times to look forward to, because I think Justin and I are like a decade. I'm 13 years. We're the same age almost. We're just little teenagers in this program, getting our feet and wet, and there's so much here, you guys. So, like, first thought comes, how do I deal with it? Well, you pause, says the book. If it's a good thought, you don't need to pause. But if it's a thought that you're agitated or doubtful, says the book, you pause. And then page 119 says you can count your blessings. So you could always do that. First thought comes, how do I deal with it? What is it? I'm no good. Okay. You pause. You count your blessings. I am good. My family's good. Go down the list. I have fingers. They're good. Like, you can go down the list. And then we just read like page 59. May you find God now. Bring yourself right here, right now, because you're not going to find God drifting off into yesteryears, everybody. And you will not find God future tripping. But where will you find God? Justin, deep down inside and now. So I think that really, I mean, we could beat a dead horse here and just talk about it because the book has 164 pages of exactly how and what to do when the first thought comes. But the simple, we just told you, may you find God now. Get in here now to this moment because that work problem, Justin, can wait. Whatever I need to do after this recording can wait. Right now, here, Justin, now. Other than my voice sounding a little manly, nothing is missing.
Love it. Love it. And, as I close this up, one additional thought that I had, when I am unwell, when I am in active addiction, when I am, just not with God, that moment that I can pause is such a brief moment. I have to grab it right now as soon as I recognize it, or I'm going to be down the road to the second, third, fourth, and fifth thought, and I'm off running. When I'm healthy, when I'm in a good place, when I'm connected with my higher power, and I'm trying to be what my higher power would have me be, that moment when that first thought comes in is a long time where I can pause, connect with God, give it all to Him, and then move on with my day, turning my thoughts to being of service to somebody else. And it's a beautiful thing. So it sounds like with this person who sent in this question right now, they're not well. They're trying to be. Have patience with that, but have patience with the growth and the progress. But as soon as that thought comes, right now, I have to pause. Right now, I have to do those things. It's not, oh, I'll entertain this for a minute. No, it has to happen right now. Anyways, everybody, keep coming back. This is a way of living, a recipe for life that works in hard times and in all times. Come all the way in, sit all the way down, stay, and work it because you are worth it.